Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You're the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, on this fine Friday. What a fine Friday it is. The week flew, but I'm back with you today. And it's an absolute pleasure to be back here in the chair with all of you today. So, I want to get into it right after the Fallen State. We're getting started here. The American Anchor Baby. And if you want to call him, you know, he's in the chair. So you got to call 888-775-3773. You can talk about what you like here. We got some things to get on into here Friday, loosey-goosey chaos stream. You know, the thing about people that question the Holocaust is that, see, the thing is that those people, they leave out how all those people that died in the trains from disease and all that, that counts as a Holocaust too, right? I don't think that's a very controversial thing to say. Now maybe it's a controversial thing to say that there was no mass killing or anything like that, and I'm not saying that. In fact, I believe there very likely was. In many cases, you know how it is with anger. You believe crazy things. I am, however, struck by how evil and ignorant humanity can be. Ignorant to their own evil, pretty much 99% of the time. You know, I heard Japanese people died in internment camps. You can imagine all sorts of reasons you could come up with for why that happened, but at the end, it is what it is. It's evil. Ignorant people fighting, and the cost of which can be quite incredible. So how's that for a little cold open? You paying attention now? You awake? What the? Whoa, things got really controversial all of a sudden. Welcome to the show. You're watching American Anchor Baby. I'm streaming on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola, and of course, punchy.tv/Anchor Baby. That's punchie.tv/Anchor Baby. Okay, so welcome everybody. You could call in 888-775-3773. Like the stream. We're about to get into it here. And leave a little comment. Leave a little like. Leave a little super chat if you want to get in on the conversation. You know, Trump and changing of the culture. Is it possible? It almost feels like maybe people want something different. There's all sorts of movements. There's all sorts of awakenings and all that. And I'm a little sarcastic because you know how it is with the masses, with the public. But they're saying now there's names, you know, Mel Gibson. There's these guys that are these special envoys for Trump in Hollywood. I don't know what it all means, but are those three strong white Christian men? Or is it just one of them? Maybe I only know Mel Gibson a little bit, and I don't know anything about anybody else. But it is all thematic, you know, culture and ideology, with today's show a little bit. So I want to get into it here. So I see calls coming in, 888-775-3773. What else here? Cold. I think we're done with the open. You paying attention now? I didn't say anything controversial. So where was I? So what I'd want to do first. Hey, caller, wait for me 1 second. I'm going to get to all my calls here. 888-775-3773. More coming in. By now, you may have seen Joe Biden giving some farewells as Trump is set to be inaugurated this Monday, right? Pretty amazing. And you've seen him up there. You've seen him in some videos, some farewells. And we can't let America fall into the hands of a few super rich people, the tech people that he's talking about. How noble of Biden, and a little bit rich, I think, to some, considering how America is already seemingly ruled by the few. Is that fair to put it? Seemingly ruled by the few, the powerful, the competent. You know, you could be pretty evil, you could be pretty competent. Look, as messed up as things are, you still have to be somewhat competent to be all evil and running things. America is already ruled by kings, so to speak. A government by the people for the people? I don't know. You see the whole thing with Biden and his warnings takes on an air less of nobility and more of my team's better than your team. Are there some ambitious people on our side? Does it just seem like another team is taking over? Maybe. Will America suffer like the Israelites for wanting a king? Maybe. But anyways, as you know, Biden was also making some noise about this hostage deal, which the Israeli cabinet actually just earlier today approved. Maybe a little bit of breaking news. If you remember, I was reporting on this. And it's 15 months of conflict, and they're now set to end with a ceasefire. It's just a ceasefire and an exchange of prisoners and all that. This is a 3-phase plan, and it was still hanging in the balance as the Israeli cabinet was still basically deciding here. You know, honestly, this just solidifies Trump's influence on this. It's pushed things along very quickly, for better or for worse. Well, you got Biden, the time capsule of America a little bit, with the ideologue, Biden, with the luxury of being so much of an ideologue. He was interviewed by MSNBC last night, and he was able to express more of this noble ideology. This is we created the UN after the World War. There's rules now. Don't you know, Bibi Netanyahu? There's rules now. And he's telling Bibi, he's giving Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, what's what. And I found it somewhat humorous, somewhat nice. It must be nice to have this position of such a noble position, right? But you don't have like the problems Israel may have. And just some of that Biden style that gets me a little. If we may, a little bit here.
Immediately after their attack.
And just the toughness, or is it the posture of toughness with Biden and the world stage? This is the volume on this is very low. Come on.
By Hamas. Mm-hmm. When I went to Israel.
We're going to have to do it like this, okay? Open up your ears. Listen closely. Biden, speak up.
When I went to Israel, immediately after their attack by Hamas, 8 days later, whatever it was, and I told him we were going to help. And I said, but Bibi, I said, you can't be carpet bombing these communities. And he said to me, well, you did it.
He said, Bibi, you can't just be carpet bombing these communities, man. And Bibi's like, well, you did it.
You carpet bomb, not his exact words, but you carpet bomb Berlin.
You carpet bomb Berlin.
You dropped a nuclear weapon.
You dropped a nuclear weapon.
You killed thousands of innocent people.
Thousands of innocents at the hands of Americans.
In order to win a war.
Because you needed to win a war.
That's why we came up with the UN.
But that's why we came up with the UN. And look at the smirk. Look at the smile. And that's why we came up with rules, BB. I'm repeating because it's a little hard to hear. But hopefully you found this as humorous as I did.
New deals by which what we would do relative to civilians and military.
So he was comparing 21st century war tactics, battle tactics, with World War II.
Well, what he was really doing is he was going after me for saying you can't indiscriminately bomb civilian areas, even if the bad guys are there. Even if the bad guys are there,
even if you can't take out
12, 1,500 people, innocent people, in order to get the one bad guy.
So you get it? Whatever. I didn't know it was this long. Jeez. I just thought it was humorous. Biden, the ideologue, with the heart and the mind maybe stuck maybe a little bit. The UN, international courts. Are you aware of the world right now? It's splintered and they don't quite agree on this consensus. The UN is basically Palestinian now, isn't it? I'm so ignorant. I understand. I may be a little ignorant here. But there's something humorous about Biden. You know, they say he was more of a team player than you think. At least some have conspiracy theories that he's more of a team player with Trump and all that. Remember when he wore the MAGA hat? They're saying Biden reportedly discussed the possibility of pardoning Trump in private, per NBC. You remember him with the Trump hat and those people he met. They were saying, this looks so bad. This was before the election. Is this guy trying to lose the election? Did something happen behind closed doors? Did getting passed over for Kamala, was that a snub that and caused the Bidens to flip? It caused Jill Biden to wear the red dress, MAGA red, no less. Could it be Biden's awesome? Maybe. But I'll leave you with this, and then I'm going to get to calls. I'll leave you with some Biden,
$20,
but hard Biden edits, so that we could get hyped for the incoming union, the strength of the union on Monday. Some hard Biden edits for energy and hype. Get hyped, okay? And dream a little that Biden is awesome.
Well, I think his dad, I might bet $20 on his dad voting for Donald Trump for president, especially last night after the garbage comment.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that guy is trying to help Donald Trump. We're going to win. I think we're going to win. But after we win, I'm going to be convinced that Joe Biden was trying to help us the whole time.
Well, here's
he put on the MAGA hat.
The MAGA hat was crazy.
That was crazy.
When he put on the MAGA hat in front of those guys and they all cheered, and he insisted on keeping the hat, and they took it with him.
Okay, that's hard. Do it for America. Do it for Friday. All right, that's hard. Let's go. Get hyped. So anyways, we're just having fun. Biden. Let me get this situated here. Let's go. There we go. I like him. Anyways, he's out. Trump's coming in Monday. Some effects of that are being felt already. I got more stuff to get into. I have a caller here, though. Jaden out of California is here calling me. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
How's it going, Nick?
All is well?
Baby. Nice. This is my first time calling you. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Right on. I've heard your call, I think, out there in the airwaves. Thanks for calling me. Go ahead.
Nice. Well, I just got well, it's not really. It is a question. I just want some differing opinions to where you're at.
Hit me.
We ever since we started waking up and obviously like we're still learning, but we've like learned a lot of how to like handle situations in life, right? And so we can be examples to people who don't know that stuff in those situations. So for the example, I'm doing like Marine Corps, and every Tuesday and Thursday, I haven't shipped out yet, but every Tuesday and Thursday they have this like training you can go to at the office, and it's a bunch of other wannabe recruits. So the training is really, really hard. I mean, it's the hardest training I've ever done. I did high school sports, but I'm able to get through it, and I'm able to get through it like efficiently and without complaining because I, learned how to stay present during the pain. And so the other wannabe recruits who are kind of struggling, they look at me, and then they start to ask me like before and after the work. I was like, dude, how do you not complain? How does it not hurt? How does it not, And so yesterday, a recruit asked me like, how do you get through this? And I was like, well, if you stay present when the devil starts to like get the pain in your head and your body and it starts to make you want to quit, if you stay present and you stay with God, you're going to get through it and you'll be just fine. And he was kind of like taken aback because he was like, why are you adding like God in there? But it's right because, you and I both know that it's God. So I'm just wondering, when you give advice to people like that and they're asking for it, do you mention the biblical part of it, or do you just mention the wisdom and then let them figure out the biblical part on their own? Because I don't want to like fire hose them with theology, even though it's not really theology. But you get my point, right?
I understand what you're saying, but it just sounds like already too much thinking. Already way too much thinking. No, I mean the conditions were perfect already. Someone asked you for advice. They saw something. They saw without you even mentioning it or anything. They saw something and asked you for advice. Keep it simple. Don't ruin it. The more you do, it's like just stay. I've noticed that the best thing is to stay out of it. Like I've had a lot of people ask me, how do I help correctly? How do I spread the message? How do I? There's never an answer to that. There's never an answer. But the only time someone actually helps, actually spreads them a message at all, it's always by accident. It's always by something that had nothing to do with them. So, the conditions were right there, and leave it like that. Just do your best to stay out of it. It's like they just want to get through this basic training, and you have a little bit of sliver of insight on how to do that. Give them just that. Give them just what they're asking for. You know what I mean? You don't have to go any. You don't have to go any further. Just what they've asked for.
Right, and it goes into like the moment by moment thing, like you're saying, like it just happened. Because after the training was over, he was actually doing really good during the training. And I was surprised because this is like his second time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, he was like, dude, you were right. Like staying present was good. And I was like, oh, thank you, God, for showing him. Right. But
right.
You're completely, maybe I'm just overthinking this.
Totally.
So maybe
yeah. That just sounds like textbook overthinking. It's the only thing you're doing wrong. Because it sounds like you're waiting for such a condition. But even me verbalizing such a sentence, I'm waiting for the correct conditions to help someone. Even that sounds crazy. You understand? Like, it's like it's like when I'm putting together a show and I'm talking about stuff I have no clue. It's pretty obvious and it's pretty clear. But sometimes some things are just I don't have to wrestle with. It's just so clear, it's got to be like that. You notice you don't have to teach the things that you really know. There's nothing to teach.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing to teach. You already know it, so you just show it.
Yep. Because the only reason that he was asking was because I was actually doing it during the workout and I was actually getting through it.
And he's just right.
Yeah. I guess
they just want to get through basic training.
Right. But it's just like
they don't know that they need to overcome the things you're talking about.
You ever get that feeling where it's like if you're not telling them what you know, like you just feel guilty, bro, because you know how to help them and you're not saying it.
But that's a lie. You're lying to yourself. How do you know how to help somebody? When have you ever helped somebody?
Well, I helped.
Pick one time you helped somebody. I dare you.
I don't know. My friend was addicted to drugs, and I told him, bro, you just gotta like, if you get the urge, just don't do it.
How many people? Sorry, you were saying?
My friend he was addicted to drugs, like pills.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, next time you get the urge, just like watch it. Just don't do anything about it.
Wow,
and
you think you did that? You know how many people have heard that same advice? You know how many people Jesse Lee Peterson himself has told them the absolute truth, and they're like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
So me saying it didn't do anything. It was God. It was God that allowed him. Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, just think about it, because there's you more often than not you don't help. More often than not you confuse. More often than not,
right?
You don't get across what you think you're getting across. You understand?
Nick, that's really you just hit something, bro. Because I just realized the words themselves, if they fell on deaf ears, I wouldn't have helped him anyways.
Yeah.
The only reason he got help was because God allowed him to accept it. You know what I mean? Like God allowed him to accept the words. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right, bro.
How many people hear the truth? I mean, yes, the truth is rare. It's a secular world. Nobody talks about Jesus anymore. But yet, people are almost getting the truth all the time. That something's wrong with them. That's something, you know what I mean? How many people hear the truth every day and they don't want to hear it? It has nothing to do with you. What an ego to think that it is.
You're right, bro. Wow. I knew that intellectually, but now I'm actually like, I see what you're talking about now.
Jafeel?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. And it's just a better way to think about it like this. Because, how do I put it? Yeah, you just don't go around with this teaching attitude. Now it's just, now you're just like, it doesn't even feel like teaching. It's just so obvious that you're pointing something out that's just so obvious. It doesn't feel like teaching. It's just so obvious. You know, you know how people like, they sometimes freak out at something Jesse's saying like that. They'll audibly gasp when he says something like, "You have to forgive. You have to love your enemies." Right. Whoa, bro! And it should be that simple. That there should be that little emotion where you're almost surprised that someone is amazed at what you're saying. Like, wow, no way, bro. Thoughts are lies. It should be like, yeah. Anyways, you know what I mean?
Yep. And Nick, real quick, I just want to say, I mean, staying present during the workouts I've never been this level of fit before. Like, I've never been able to do
this
type of workout ever. And you know what's funny is after the workout is done, even though it's the hardest thing I've ever done, I don't feel like I just did something hard. You know what I mean? It just feels like it's over with.
That's actually cool.
Because usually when I do a hard workout, when I was in the False 8, I'd get like an ego about it, like, oh, dude, I'm like a boss, right? But now it's just done with. I just go to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane, man.
It's two sides to that coin. That's that's the weirdest thing about. It's a very cool thing about working out. Most people probably don't even. Well, they're always battling with something. It's an interesting thing. You see them all fail when they make their New Year's resolutions. The gym memberships get canceled. There's this, but it really is this ego. You're really going up against the ego in that when you're doing that last rep. There you literally can, and your mind is telling you can't. It's a interesting thing to view it that way. You're going. People putting in the head. You're listening to music to distract yourself.
Right.
There's an interesting relationship with being aware and how quickly you can get your workouts done and how much time people waste. And the reason they're wasting it is because of fear and ego. It's fear. You are battling with fear and ego while trying to just do some reps, and people don't think it's a spiritual battle.
And that's the craziest thing is that I never realized that something like physical, just like working out, is actually spiritual. Like it is literally you're overcoming demons when you don't give in and you don't quit the workout. That's insane to me.
Yeah, man. And it goes even deeper than that. There's people with all sorts of muscle, with all sorts of, and very respectable too. And you could see the hard work on their body. And it's like, yeah. And they'll say, you know, man, you got to endure. You got to endure. But then someone offends them and you realize what the true deepness of endurance is, what Jesus meant by turning the other cheek. It's like totally eternal. It's totally spiritual.
Dude, I just want to say something about that is those people, because I've noticed we were talking about like there will be bodybuilders who are still addicted to like porn or they still have anger. And then there will be bodybuilders who are just chill guys, right? And I think the difference is when you're working out with emotions, so you can use emotions to get the workout done. You can like use your anger to overcome the fear, but then you're still emotional, right? But if you work out presently, then you're going to do you're going to deal with your anger presently, and then you're going to deal with life presently. So I think that's the difference between the two. One uses emotions to work out, and one just stays present while they're working out. They don't.
I think that's an example of dealing with the small things so you could deal with the bigger things in life later better.
Yep.
What do you think about this? Now, this is just funsies, conceptual. You think it's possible to bodybuild without a little vanity? Vanity, Kevin.
Vanity?
Yeah, you think it's possible? Do you have to have a little bit of vanity to work on your body?
Like ego?
Yeah. I guess ego, the vanity of looking good. For the sake of just that.
Well, if you're bodybuilding, that's the goal, right?
Right?
But,
isn't that the goal? Yeah.
Well, that's the goal of the competition. But, you know, as long as you realize that you're not building muscle anyways, you can't even control if your fibers get repaired or not. That's God that's doing it for you, right? So you have no control over the whole process. So, I mean, as long as you remember that, I feel like you can do it without vanity.
I wonder. Like it's like, do you have? Anyways, I'm rambling in my own mind. I got to stop. Alias name in the chat is saying Nick's starting to think about doing push-ups after this call. This caller is doing more than I have ever have for Nick. I've tried. Great caller. So shout out to you, sir, Jaden. We're definitely going Super Saiyan after this show.
Amazing, dude. 200 push-ups, Nick.
200, but yeah. Well, I'm doing 5x5 lately.
5x5 push-ups?
No, strong lifts. You know, heavy as you can. 5 reps of 5. 5 sets of 5. The classic.
Did you
the classic strong lifts.
Hake?
Huh?
Did you hear me say that on Hake?
You talked about 5x5?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. No, I didn't hear that.
Heavy attack.
Yeah, I actually did not hear you say that. No. I've been doing
that is the most base workout.
I've been on a regimen. I've been on Lyndon Chin's regimen, but also I have the luxury of weights pretty close to me. So I feel like if Lyndon Chin had that luxury, he would hit the weights too. So in his name, I've been doing strong lifts.
Dude, I've been doing 5x5 for like years. It's so good, bro, because you get out the gym in like 30 minutes, bro.
It's the best.
And you really go hard at the same time.
Right on, Jaden. Well, call me again, sir. Anything else you want to say before we move the wheels?
Nah. Have a good one.
All right. 888-775-3773 if you want to call in. But what the heck was I talking about? What the heck was I babbling about earlier? You know, the Holocaust. Are you awake? The changing of culture. Biden stuck in World War II a little. Don't you know that they have Hamas on their doorstep, Biden? It must be nice to be an ideologue. Or maybe I'm just ignorant. But it does make me think a little bit about... it does make me think a little bit... Ooh, how do I want to do it? It makes me think a little bit about maize. You know? Right now it's got me thinking of maize. Shout out maize out of Dayton, Ohio. I often think of maize. Okay, that was a joke, and that came out sounding weird, and I feel like I've said two weird things to maize, and I really don't want to offend the Miss Mays, Miss Lovely Mays. Yeah, I think I had a call with her some months ago, and I was like, I was setting up this movie night with some of my viewers, and I'm like, Mays, do you want to come to a movie? And I didn't know how. I think it came off wrong. She was like, "What the heck are you talking about?" I'm here inviting a married woman to a movie. I wasn't thinking, so I obviously wasn't thinking about what I was just saying, Mays. I often think of you in positive ways. You know, I had mentioned in passing yesterday the early sexual debut of black males, some studies done by this John Hopkins. I barely mentioned it, you know. I mentioned it amongst some other stories I put together to kind of paint a picture on the unleashed state that sex is in society and how it can be a little dangerous. You're playing with fire. You're playing with a spiritual thing, an appetite that goes beyond the physical, and some at its most crazy levels, as I showed you yesterday, are causing all sorts of destruction for themselves and others. But Mays just zeroed in on that. Like, why are you talking about the blacks? Why are you talking about the young black males? Like, don't you find that fascinating at all? And don't you find that it kind of tracks with what you see and anecdotally know about blacks? It's they start quite young, and it turns out that it's older black women. It's older black women. You know. Lil Wayne called it like rape and stuff. I don't know, whatever. The point is they're minors. It's an aspect of society going on, and I found it interesting. And I know Mays didn't like it. I know I have callers who call me, they don't like that. Like, why focus on that? Why not talk about everybody? It's like, do you watch my show? It may not be equal, but I talk about everybody, right? You know, in a certain sense, I'm quite grateful to black people, really. And it's a weird way of putting it. Allow me to flesh this out a little bit. I say grateful, not because I think it's good that they're in the situation they're in. I don't think their situation is good at all, but it's that situation that showed me that everybody is going through the same problems. Like everybody, all the races, white people, black people, everybody in between. All the religions. It showed me the problems in my life, in my family. And my mom's not loud and yelling or some of the stereotypes are for black women and how mean they can be, how they ran off their men. You know? But that same evil hatred of the man, hatred of men, anger to the core, I recognized it in my family. So it's never about being black. And I just wonder if Mays understands that, you know. It's been a very what do we call it? Educational? Whatever. Everyone's going through the same issue. Everyone has anger. They're wicked in the heart. And this wickedness leads them down. It leads them down a path they normally wouldn't have gone down. And they make their own lives difficult. They add hardships to their lives where they didn't need to. And why is it that people like this, angry and all that, their lives are always going wrong, and it's never their fault. It's always something else. Man, look at the marriage courts and how the courts are and all that. It's like, yeah, but yet everything's always going wrong for you. Look at how the Democrats are. The Democrats have made things so hard for me, my life. They're affecting my life. But it's like why is it that for these people they have such bad luck? Could it be in some certain sense, with me keeping myself out of it, not a judgment, but in some sense, everyone gets what they deserve? You understand what I'm saying? Check this out. If you don't see what I'm saying here, check it out. Here's one of those exaggerated examples with the blacks here that express what I'm talking about. It's just anger. It's not a mystery. It's not complicated. It's not It's not 400 years. It's not intersectionalism, or it's not whatever this academic said. It's quite simple. It's not a mystery. You're angry and hateful. Angry and hateful people get themselves in all sorts of trouble. Imagine going to a basketball game. All the Bambinos are around running. They're running around the Bambinos. They're trying to have a basketball game at school. And one of the mamas and their kids just won't stay off the court. And she is doing nothing about it. You're just a counselor, or you work at the school, or you're another parent and you're volunteering. And you know what? In a little moment, you do a little bit of maybe the mother's job for her, and you tell the kids, hey, get off the court. And maybe you're this person and you never expected what would have happened to you for daring to do such a thing. Watch this.
Shows the parent hit the principal. She's knocked.
Oh, you're the principal. You're the principal in this case.
Shows the parent hit the principal. She's knocked to the ground. Police say she noticed young children walking onto the court while the game was being played. You can see the principal getting up so the little kids didn't get hurt. At least 2 times she pulls the kids back while the game is in play. At some point, Plaquemine Police Chief Stephen Angolio says words were exchanged.
Wow.
And the mom was having none of it.
Oh,
the principal sitting in a chair, the lady walking by with 3 kids in tow and one of her friends. And the principal asked her, hey, keep the kids off the basketball court. It disrupts the whole game. She obviously took offense with that, and you see her move in on the teacher puts her hand up to kind of keep her off, and she just punched her, knocked her out of the chair.
Surveillance footage in the school's gym obtained by the WAFBI team shows the parent hit the principal. She's knocked to the ground.
This wasn't excitement from the competition. You made a bad call on my child or anything. This is a woman that was there with kids that was disrupting everything. I don't even think she had a child in the game at all. And she wasn't watching her kids, and when somebody told her you need to, she didn't like it.
Oh, man. What a mess. We're talking $100,000 bond for these individuals, and you torpedoed a little chunk of your life there, right? Good work.
Chad.
And what did it? Anger. That's the only thing wrong with these people. That's literally the only thing wrong. They've accepted the spirit of evil. They love it. They listen to it when it tells them, when it tells her, this woman just said something to your kids. Your kids aren't even that bad. They're just being kids. Who's this woman to tell you how to? You could hear the spirit of evil talking to whoever these people are right now. Don't you hear it? You could hear the spirit of evil, and that's the only thing these people have done. They've totally gone into it, and they don't see anything about themselves. They don't see that they're wrong. They don't see they're evil. They literally don't. Can it be anything else? Call me. Tell me where I'm wrong. 888-775-3773. But it's just not a mystery.
At some point, Plaquemine...
It's not a mystery. It's not a joke. They just hate. They're evil. People are quite wicked. And no one likes to look at themselves. But yet that's where the biggest problems come from. The wicked mind, leading us to where we wouldn't be, making 10 times more mess of our lives than it would have been otherwise. All because of one little thing. Because you don't want to see that something's wrong with you. That something's wrong with you, how you've reacted, and all that. It's so weird. Because we're people, right? But the people, they're human beings. They say they're intelligent mammals, rational creatures of, don't they say this? So sensible and rational, the inventions they've made. But they're walking around going like, I can't believe my life bad things keep happening to me. I had health problems and this or that is happening. And always when you peel back the layers, that person is making their own life more difficult than it needs to be. So I'm off this, I think. Can we move on? Because everybody's got the same issue. Everybody's got the same issue here, okay? Thank you so much for the super chats. Some of them kicking them off right even before the show began with the Hake. Hake, the one and only, saying, did you knows? Did you knows? You can super even before we live. Sound a little black there, Mr. Hake, but Chris with the super chat says, whoa, Hakes, right you can. Trying it now. Terry Strange won't be left out. Saying, glizza, my nizza. See, I told you everybody's a little black. Glizza, my nizza. Thanks for the super chats and the support. What's up, Rumble? I see y'all. Okay. And DLive. What's up, DLive.tv/Gorgonzola. Very cool. All right, let's see now. Let us do this, shall we? What does what mean, sweet Amy? Glizza, my nizza? Are you one? Oh, my apologies. I thought all of you were fluent. My apologies. I assume that you're all as versed in black vernacular as I. I regret to tell you that this may be out of my level of a scholarly education here. Glizza, my nizza. It almost sounds like an order. Like, glizza, my nizza, do it now. That can't be. That can't be it. We're doing some etymology here. We're doing some major analysis of this super chat from Terry Strage. This glizza, always talking ish. See, it's more like a noun. It has to be glizza, which must be loosely related to its root word, I'm sure, glizzer, right? Really, which is really the root word of that, which is glizzy, right? Which means hot dog. Terry Strage, I just came to that same conclusion, the phonics of which we were not ready for. It must just mean hot dog, my N-word. Glizza, my nizza. Okay, let's move on. Let's see here. You know what? I showed you this yesterday. I marked this down on my list to bring it back up because, I barely... sometimes the anchor baby's confusing. It's like, what the heck is he talking about? I showed you this post on X, and someone had posted this. They put forth a question to the guys on X. Poll for guys below: who is most likely to get married? They had these ladies on the left who were 30 and saying, I've gotten to age 30 and I have more experience and I know what I want. I realize it's not really about them, it's about me. I'm no longer, am I good enough for this person? Or is it Miss World Champ Bonnie Blue on the right who had sex with 1,000 men in 12 hours? Who's the one more likely to get married? Who is it? And why am I bringing this back up? Well, honestly, all I was trying to say is what I saw when I saw this poll, when I saw this post, what I saw is how everybody probably thinks that everybody, when you look at the results of the poll, everybody said Bonnie Blue, the one on the right, the one who's famous for having sex with all these men, was the one more likely to get married. And in some sense, I sort of agreed. But what got me about this is that I feel like a lot of people would look at this poll, especially lately, and think that's so deep. You made such a good point. Like, there's a bunch of guys looking at this, and they're saying, yeah, duh, Bonnie Blue, this Bonnie one is the first one to get married because she's at least playing and catering to men's desires. And the women, the boss ladies on the left, they're not that desirable. Like they figured out something that deep or anything at all to be proud of. Like that is the weakness of men. It's a story as old as time. It makes me think about the importance that the world puts on marriage and love for personal fulfillment, for like getting to the end game of life. You know, after I got into politics and stuff, and had more interactions with the conservatives, young conservatives, who a lot of are Christians or they became Christian. Inevitably, they talk about child rearing and being Christian and being married and being fruitful and multiplying. Inevitably they talk about these things, right? And what gets me is I see all this advice on how to stay together and all that from marriage experts and all that. And I can't help but notice how all the advice, all the prevailing literature on making a marriage last is basically kissing boots, worshiping each other. And so I see this and I see the guy saying, duh, this is the type of woman to get married. And people debating this like that's that important. Like I think there has to be a better way was what I'm trying to get at. I feel like there has to be a better way where doing the right thing is not contingent on another person. It's not contingent on another person. It just has to do with you, only you. It has that doing the right thing has only to do with you, the individual, inside of a marriage, outside of a marriage. That's probably why you're getting these conservative guys going around saying, just marry her, just man up and marry her. And the her they're talking about is someone who's going to take your kids away, someone who's like, wants her boots kissed. I'm just thinking there's got to be a better way, right? It's not, and maybe I'm asking for a lot, but can't there be a better way? Two people, when I hear Jesse talk about two people that are working on themselves can get married and have a great marriage, I'm thinking of people that are above such low thinking like men's desires. Like, yeah, ladies, just anyways, now there's got to be, I'm just thinking there's got to be something above this, no? Isn't there something above this? Anyways, that's the only way to really have a good marriage, no? Because you can't control or know or really in any reliable way ensure anything about anybody else. Imagine a message where the beginning and the end is a message that is about you, what you could do better. Wouldn't you have an amazing marriage that way? Wouldn't you have the most perfect marriage that way? A marriage that'll last till death do you part? Because it's not contingent on another person. So what else? What else about this? Who's most likely to get married? Like, you guys aren't that smart. Like, whatever. The ladies should look at these guys and say, okay, so you guys are a bunch of mere monkeys. No different than the women who want their boots kissed and think love is all these emotions and whatever. Anyways, what else about this? Blah, blah, blah. Love and marriage. An enlightened marriage, is that possible? What else? So yeah, y'all ain't that deep, fellas. Guys like sex. Like, you figured it out? Good one. What else about this? I think let's move on. How about we move on? 888-775-3773. I had someone calling me there. You could call me back. Is culture changing? Is there a desire for that? That's probably behind all this trad movement stuff. You know, you got people that say, we got to bring back these traditional values, traditional culture, get married and all that. There's something going on with Hollywood. What's going on here, Donald Trump? I feel like you guys would know some of these names better than I, but tell me where I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong. But it seems like Trump is asking the help of 3 strong, white, Christian Americans. What kind of last name is Voit? What kind of last name is Voit? Voit is an Americanized version of the German surname Vogt. There you go. It is my honor to announce Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone to be special ambassadors to a great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California. That's definitely the general consensus lately amongst the right wing. It's Hollywood. They call it other dirty things. PDF wood. Trump says that these 3 will serve as special envoys to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost much business over the last 4 years, to foreign countries back, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. More Christian, maybe? Jon Voight is the Midnight Cowboy. Dustin Hoffman was the experienced one in the film. Very cool. Gen Z has no context of... I know, John Siri. What a mess. And I don't even think it's fair to call me Gen Z. I'm just ignorant. I think it's just the anchor baby in me. Jon Voight, pull up. Jon Voight is... they're asking me to pull up clips. But I know, John Siri. Pull up a Midnight Cowboy clip. Gen Z has no context. The Midnight Cowboy? How far back are we going? Okay, this looks awesome.
I'm Joe Buck from Texas. Enrico Rizzo from the Bronx.
So Jon Voight is an actor, okay?
Frank, what the hell do you think of that? Well, I don't mind if I do. Why do you think I come all the way up here from Texas for?
Now I wonder who made this movie. For any of the people who see this as a desire to maybe even bring back a more classic Hollywood, a Hollywood that cared more for America, maybe even more Christian. But didn't those Jews make pretty good movies? Heartwarming. I feel like things have only gotten worse. You know what I'm saying? Movie-wise and all that. Like, when I hear about people talk about Hollywood and the problems it has today, I get the impression that they look back not that far ago. Like, they don't go that far back when they have rose-colored lenses and they're like, wow, I want that Hollywood back. I feel like they don't go that far back. Like, it wasn't that long ago. So, you know, these Jews were making some pretty good movies. Some pretty cool, maybe even America, not so subversive as you think. Will this be a return of traditional values? I don't know, but these are some pretty cool names, no? Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone. Now, Sylvester, is he a Christian? Anybody know? Sylvester Stallone speaks on faith and hope. Apparently he's a Catholic. or he was raised in a Catholic home, a Christian home, and he went to Catholic schools, according to dove.org. I was taught the faith and went as far as I could with it until one day I got out into the so-called real world. I was presented with temptation, and I lost my way, and I made a lot of bad choices. I felt the character of Rocky sort of did that too. He just didn't have the right guidance, and then he was given an opportunity in the movie, like he was being chosen. Jesus was over him, and he was going to be the fella that would live through the example of Christ. Sylvester Stallone said all this? He's very forgiving. There's no bitterness in him. He always turns the other cheek. It's like his whole life was about service. And I said, man, if I could take my story, my feelings, and put it into the body of a boxer, because no one fears about it, no one cares about an actor so much. The boxing is symbolism of the constant fight and the example of Christ. I thought this would be really interesting, and that's exactly what happened. It was like an unexpected gift, really. I didn't know Rocky was a Christian movie. That's amazing. That's borderline. Hey, that's borderline ridiculous. That's a beautiful movie. I didn't know Rocky, the story of Rocky, was so deeply Christian. Let's go. So right on, Hollywood. Work with Trump, and you might just not hemorrhage money, and you might just make something good that people like. Nice. Stallone and Gibson had an anger problem. Saved by Jesus and Adrian. Who's Adrian? Is that somebody's wife? Is that somebody's wife, Hake? Don't tell me. Like Pete Hegseth, who I think is obviously way tougher than most. I'm just nitpicking. You know how losers can be. They just stay nitpicking. But I'm messing around. But Pete Hegseth was saved by Jesus and Jenny, his wife. Anyway, so yeah, Sylvester Stallone, Trump in Hollywood. Amazing. I want to get to Serge, though, who's been waiting patiently out of Texas. Thank you so much for your call, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, Nick, how you been?
All is well. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, do you notice that traditional values are necessary?
What do you mean by traditional values?
Like this rites of passage. How boys and girls need to develop into men and women. So for the boy, you can see that he needs to go out and make a way for himself without being coddled. He should be the supplier, and it's character building for him to go out and make his way. And
I see.
I noticed that.
So that's your definition of traditional, and you say necessary for what?
It's necessary because I noticed that tends to be the natural way, or if you religious, God's way.
But you said that you asked me if I see that traditional values are necessary, and I understand now what you mean by traditional values. What do you mean? And you said they're necessary, but I'm wondering what they're necessary for.
Necessary for peace.
Peace.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I noticed that you don't get any peace outside of the traditional values.
Interesting comment. You know what it makes me think about all the people who with so-called traditional values that are miserable. What do you think about that?
I think that that's their own version of traditional values, which is why you asked me what do I think traditional values are. But I don't think that their traditional values are God's way.
But I know people with at least some of the values you verbalized yourself, and they don't have peace. Is it because they don't have them all? What do you think their problem is?
Yeah, you definitely have to have them all. 9 times out of 10, even if the man is working and providing and the woman is at home and there's chaos within the home, it's because the man, he's impatient. And he hasn't really let go. He's very egotistical. He thinks that his money makes him a man. Most men.
But you were just telling the man to have all those things, though.
Say that again.
Weren't you just saying that those were the good values to have? Now it sounds like you're telling this hypothetical man he was wrong for seeking those things. You were just saying the traditional values is, now I'm paraphrasing, but all the things the man has to do, and including, it sounded like you were saying like the money and all that, but now you're saying this man has made a mistake.
Yeah, no, only a mistake in the aspect of thinking that if you think that money is all you need to have, and adopting the proper order. Once you think that you can custom your life, and like let's say that you think that the ego is necessary for you to be successful, then that's when you run into a problem. So the traditional values are supposed to be like a word. It's like the word we use for God's way.
When were you going to tell him that? You left him in the dark until he found all those things, and you were like, "Oh, you were supposed to not have an ego with those things."
Well, I'm gonna tell my boy straight up, because I'm gonna have a boy first. That's guaranteed, right?
All right, yeah.
So tell my boy straight up. It's like,
the man knows the secrets. You know the dark arts.
I do. I'm gonna have like 18 boys and then one girl.
I'm having a little fun poking at how you're describing this, but the reason is this, because I've come to see the word values in this way. Not that it's like you must overcome values or they don't exist. I'll put it like this. They're necessary, but for a lot less than you think. Values are necessary. The bar, when a society, here, I'll put it like this. In our minds, when you say values, it almost sounds like these are the values you need to have so that you can be God's son, born again, perfect. It goes that deep. But I think it's a lot less. Values, their only purpose and their necessity is simply amongst men, amongst humans, amongst people. This is just the things that we've come up with to order society. You understand? The reason why women had to marry young and all these traditions that we talk about, they just simply had a purpose for its era, its society. It's just rules amongst people. I think it has very little to do with God himself.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's not bad, but it's just not that deep. It's just so it doesn't come. I feel like it doesn't even come from God. It's just what we came up with to make life here a little bit easier, and we're still trying, and we keep forgetting, and sometimes we come up with even worse ideas. What do you think? I'm rambling. Go. What do you think? You talk.
No, you're right on the money. It's not that deep. It's definitely very easy. And for those who know, the woman I snagged, right? It was easy. It wasn't an effort thing. I didn't have to go slide into the DMs and be beta and try to appeal to like, hey, like me, right? And so it's very easy. But what's difficult is that the men don't see that they have to obey. So it's deep in that sense. That like deep, because if you don't obey, the only thing that you're going to cause is chaos in the world.
It's not. I got your statement, man. I feel like you misunderstood me a little bit. I'll put it like this: that it sounds like you're saying that these values you're talking about, you're making them sound like they're these things that came from God and that's how you live a good life. But if you notice, all the people trying to acquire the things you're talking about are still miserable. And it's funny how you that you also kind of agree in your hypothetical by telling the man in your hypothetical that no, all these things that you were just saying are required for a good life. Actually, the real truth is not identifying with that. It sounds like even you instinctually know that all that is a lie too. So it's like all these values that you're trying to acquire, they're just made up rules by people. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're just made up rules by people, and that's why people are still miserable.
So, like, the value of the man being a provider is not a...
It was made up by people in the way that we understand it. It was made up by people, and that's why that's not the answer to life. It's just the answer to how to maybe have a somewhat successful marriage in the Bible times or in today's times, depending on the advice.
I see. Yeah, you're right about that. But it's very important that we obtain that and maintain that, because if you don't got to be deep on it. But if you don't...
But that's what I'm trying to say. It's, in fact, very not important to hold on to that at all.
Oh.
It's, in fact, the opposite. It's not important at all. So once you have your marriage and you have the babies and all that, now you overcome. And you can still have a marriage that lasts till death do you part. In fact, you're more likely to, I think, because your peace is not contingent on some marriage, on some values, on some learned anything. It just has to do with you.
True, but I don't ever see a healthy, functional duality between the man and the woman. When the woman, the reason why I would be so into that, but not identifying with it, like if the woman had to give me $200 for a light, I would feel like dirt. By the way, the woman ever had to give me $200 for a light bill, it would just be so miserable.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
I was making the statement that the importance of maintaining and being the worker outside of the home. But I was saying that I would also feel like a beta male if the woman ever had to help out financially, because it shows my incompetence. It shows my lack there of providership, because I know God provides for me fully.
Like if she had to pay the light bill while she was pregnant?
Yeah, she has to pay the light bill, period. Pregnant or not.
Oh, period.
Period.
So then what the heck is she doing?
Doing woman stuff. Cooking, cleaning.
That doesn't take all day.
Cooking the baby.
We need capital, honey. And you're young and got full of energy and you're not pregnant yet. And we need capital, baby. Okay? Nice that you made me some meals, but you got good. What else? You've been doing nothing. We need money, baby. What do you think about that? No, I get you. There's some that's part of the traditional stuff you're talking about. But even that is just an idea of men. At one point, traditional is, the woman just never ever works. I guess I think is my impression. I don't even know if that's true, to be honest. But let's say, but you start trying to like force traditions, I feel like you're gonna have a hard time. You got to be a little bit more flexible, maybe.
Flexibility, maybe you're right about that. I can say that, but
because they're just rules. You understand? They're just rules.
But women become something other than women when they're outside of, like, women can't do men. Like, women were created to be women and do women stuff. And then, like, when they doing man stuff, I notice that my life becomes more hell.
What's man stuff and what's woman stuff?
Men work outside the home and women work inside the home. It's more functional.
Yeah, I like to keep it like that simple. True. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying something?
No, that's. I was leaving it like that. I was seeing if you agreed or disagreed with that.
No, I mean, we're just talking about it, really. We're just talking about it. I think we both essentially agree on this notion of the order, that there's the man over the woman and all that, and then the details we're just kind of have a conversation about. But I feel like we're coming from the same place.
Will you maintain that order? That would be my question to you.
Will I maintain that order? I don't even know if that's really up to me. I feel almost foolish. Making such a declaration. I will maintain that order. It's like it's either done or it isn't. And I get this. You know what I'm saying? It's like the one that claims it is the first one to falter, is the first one to fail in that respect.
If you want to be all liberal about it, I guess.
You know what I mean? Like the order's there. God already made the order. You know what I mean? I can lead the home badly, or I can lead the home well.
Oh, so in conclusion, I think you're saying, and we're reaching the same point. It's already done. That you don't really, it doesn't have to be so deep because it's already done. It is what it is.
I feel like I'm almost making a mistake already from the get-go by actively putting a single drop of energy into, I'm going to maintain the order.
Yeah.
It's like, how? Well, it's like, how? Well, if you're going to answer the question of how to yourself, I think if you knew the answer, you'd arrive to, well, I got to be the real deal. And if that's the answer you arrive to, then there would be no more words, right?
Yeah.
I'll just be the real deal. Stop talking about it. I don't want to even answer that and make any such claims.
Right on.
All right. Thanks, Serge. Appreciate your call, man.
Yep, Nick, your hair looks great, by the way.
Hey,
I'm surprised.
It's real puffy today. I got like an afro going on today. It's crazy.
Yeah, Marifro.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Right on, Serge. Call me again.
I will. Bye for now.
Very nice. 888-775-3773. Let's see here. Let's check on these super chats real quick. Call me in the last few minutes of the show, because what else do we have here? That's pretty much the show. Is that the show? Hold on. I thought I had something humorous for you here. Pardon. Jeez. Folks, what can I say? What can I say? Oh, geez. Pardon. Was there a mic open there? Not hiding those coughs. What's chat saying? What are you guys saying right now? Let's see what the chat is saying on this fine Friday. What's your weekend looking like, chat? What are you going to work on? What are you going to do? Man stuff equals playing the circle game at work. Duh. By the way, you just lost the game. Bro, traditional comes from the golden days when there wasn't technology, such as washing machines and so on. Traditional women had to stay and work their A off and take care of the home. Yeah, the distance between us and these traditional values that have become trendy to talk about as of late. And really, what is that? Something, an idea we have in our minds. The distance between us and traditional values, it feels like people think it's something to do with simple that the distance between us and those values amounts to simple mentalities. But I think it's more than that. It's technology, full on the way society is ordered. It's a fantasy. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. You guys don't know about the game? Wait, did I just blaspheme, chat? One's in the chat if I just blasphemed. Two's in the chat if I'm okay. If I'm okay for another day. 3 in the chat if you think it's not possible. What's that come on? All right, folks. That's it. We're done. That's the show. Let's check the coffees. buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. Thanks for the support, everybody. Sancho. Very generous. Sancho. With a bunch of coffees there, Sancho. Thank you very much. says cheers. Very, very generous. All right, y'all. What can I say? That's it. We squeezed the show out. That's it. That's all we got. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you Monday for Trump's inauguration. I think Trump's going to be inaugurated during Hake's show. Is that true? Trump inauguration. It might be 9 a.m. Pacific. I could be wrong. It might be during Hake's show on Monday. It's definitely Monday. When is inauguration? Well, we'll find out Monday, that's for sure. I can't find the time, but you know what? Oh, what time? Come on. I would like to know. It will be at 11 a.m. Central. 11 a.m. Central, so 9 a.m. Pacific time. The Hake Report will be live, and Trump will become the 47th president during such an alpha time. So much alpha, and so it concentrated into so little of a day. Okay, y'all, I'm out. Take care. See you Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.